Hey guys, it's Maria Park. Welcome to Approach the Nerd, and we are about to start our Charmed live stream. We only had a couple of angry grandma moments in this episode. If you have followed my last two streams, you know that I have concocted a character, and her name is Angry Grandma, and she takes her imaginary earrings off and she beats people. She beats their A when the plot gets a little weird. So I only have a couple of things to say about that today, but. Overall, I did enjoy this episode. Not just because we got more Abby. I'm always happy when we have Abby. But also because they kind of made fun of themselves and kind of called out stuff that we've been saying the entire damn time in this season. So, and technically even season 2. All right. So it starts off. They're looking for Aladria's symbol on the ground to find where she specifically is in the Tomb of Chaos to talk to her about the Whispering Evil. And I'm gonna tell you this. Aladria is she's snarky. She a little snarky right now. They were like, we want to know how you can help us, because that's what the charm ones do. Even though technically Aladria, Perfecti tried to kill them. I get it, but I love how they go back to their enemies and they're like, now help us. You get nothing in return. Like, just do it. And Aladria is like trying to whip out like negotiation skills of, well, you could let me go. Let us out and we'll take care of the problem. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. All right, well, then just kill Jordan. Like, we're not doing that either. Well, I guess you could separate him from the Whispering Evil and therefore allowing the Whispering Evil to be basically vanquished in this world, vanquished by you. And they're like, okay, how do you do that? She said, well, technically it's gonna be hard. And then Mel's like, do you know who we are? And she's like, yeah, I know who you are, because there were a lot of you. You were not the first charm ones. I love that. I love how she was like, just because you're the charm ones now doesn't mean I haven't seen a million variations of you, and all of you got your butt handed to you by the Whispering Evil. So you need something that gives you a leg up in this scenario. And Macy's like, I need my demon firepower back. And I'm like, of course you do. Of course you do. Oh, but you know what? We can't complain because we got to see Abby because of this. All right. So Macy's decided, because Mel's like, well, Abby's been trying to research ways all this time to try and give it back to you. They talked about, basically finding this dagger or blade of destiny, whatever, to try and get it out. And Macy's like, well, independent study time is over. I'm like, oh, okay, Macy, whatever. So Macy decides to go to find Abby and talk to her about basically getting her firepower back. And so Abby's like, well, we have to go to my mother's summer house in Essex to get it, because that's where we need the dagger is there. And she's like, well, Waverly can go in there because she'll never suspect Waverly. And Waverly's like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'll be putting my daughter at risk. And Macy's like, well, look, I know we're putting you in a compromised position, but I need my powers back to save the world. And Waverly's like, and my daughter needs a mama. So since she walks out, Macy was looking like, and Abby's like, the one time, she could have helped me or basically backed me up, and she doesn't. And of course, Macy instantly takes Waverly's side, even though Waverly was like pretty much being shade to her. So I was like, you really hate Abby. And I'm like, you really do not like Abby. Okay, so Macy makes that comment, because Macy is really good at making really snarky comments about Abby. And she was like, well, once again, it's just me and you. That's not always true, Macy, because normally it's her and Mel. So I don't know what that was about. So they go to Francesca's house. It's Abby and Macy. And Abby tries to get into the safe, but of course there's a protection spell against her magic. And Macy's like, but not against mine. So she blasts the door off. They get the dagger. And when Abby tries to use it, it basically drains her. I'm surprised it didn't kill her. I'm surprised a mother who wants to off Abby so much didn't already have a spell to basically destroy her daughter when she touched the dagger. So I always say this in every type of show, every villain that you see, from anime to cartoons to Power Rangers, Super Sentai, whatever, the villains are not trying to hardcore kill you, because if they really wanted to kill you, they would have done it. She would have put a spell on there the moment that her daughter, who she hates, touched it, would have instantly killed her, but she did not. So there's that. But, the mother, of course, gives Macy an ultimatum, and she's like, oh, well, if you kill my daughter, then I'll just give you your powers back forever. You won't have to worry about anything. And Macy's like, I'm not going to do that. So she says, okay, well, then you're pretty much no use to me. And she flips her hand and teleports Macy to effing China. And Macy's like, damn, she's a transformative witch. I was like, that's a really cool power, basically, to be able to teleport people away from you to different regions. Like, she pretty much is a marble from the command center all on her own. That's a really good power. Which the Charm ones probably could use, considering Harry has hardly no powers in this episode whatsoever. And we're going to get to the funny scene between him and Maggie in a minute, because that was funny as hell. All right. So long story short, though, Waverly does come and kind of intervene with Abby and her mom. She ends up saving, Abby and from her mother. And then Macy comes back and then saves them, from their mother. And she is able to get her powers back. I think I'm starting with this subset because, again, I do love Abby, and this technically is Abby's last episode, and I don't know if we're going to see Abby again. There's a really cute scene with her and Mel that I'll talk about in a second that kind of gives me hope that maybe we'll see her in the future and she's just not leaving for good. Kind of like how, Jordan took his sabbatical, but I don't know if this is true for Poppy's actress or not, because she is from the UK and she might have just decided to go home. I don't know what's happening with that. But so, side note, anyone who's a fan of Winona Earp, I got so many Winona and Waverly vibes with Abby and Waverly. I'm just, not even the names, just how they interact with each other and how they talk to each other. I was definitely having those sister vibes from them. So I was extremely happy about that. And then she also, basically she got her powers back. Macy got her powers back. And then I'll get to the sub story, or I guess technically the main story of dealing with the whispering evil. But I'm finishing Abby out for now, so we can take more time to talk about all the other stuff at the end. So, all right. So long story short, for some reason, Abby and Waverly didn't go help Macy go save Maggie and fight the whispering evil. I don't know why. I mean, you would think that you would want to have all the power and help you can get, but it is what it is. They didn't do it. That's a writer's thing. They do this all the time. But so when they're back at the house, this is where angry grandma is going to start coming out. So when Abby gets to the house and she's talking to, she tells Macy, I just wanted to say goodbye. And she's like, I'm sorry for everything I've done. And then, Macy's like, oh, well, you did the right thing. And then Abby's like, for once. And I'm like, oh, Lord, they have brainwashed this child into thinking she never did anything for the Charm ones. So I'm like, let me take my earrings off and play around in this scene. I was like, why? Why is Abby always the one that has to say sorry all of the time? She has done so much to redeem herself. And even when she was being bad, she was still helping them. And they act like everything she's done was just crap until this one moment. And even when she's like, can you ever find it in your heart to forgive me someday? Here's Macy. Just try and be at peace. Be happy, Abby. And I'm like, no, your biggest transgression, your biggest crime, Abigail, is that you kissed Harry. If you hadn't kissed Harry, Macy would not be this way with you. But you kissed her man before she kissed her man. So you were just SOL. It doesn't matter that you're into her sister. You're SOL. And I will get back to that in a second, because another angry grandma moment came out in this episode too. I'm going to point it out. And there's also one for Swan, but I'll point that out in a minute too. All right. So last scene between Abby and Mel. Absolutely freaking adorable. The look on Poppy's face, that woman can act. She looks so tormented. She wanted to say so many things to Mel, and you could see it on her face, and she held back the entire time. She asked for baby pictures. She's like, I also would love to see pictures of the future Mel. And she's like, I want pictures of the baby and you to see it. So I know that the baby's healthy. So I know that you're healthy. And, Mel was not deflecting it. She wasn't saying, girl, please. It was literally like, okay. But she also said, you could also come visit, me basically in the future. And Abby's like, yeah, I think I pretty much will. Now, if you are in a relationship with another person, you don't invite another woman who is into you to keep being in your life. This woman's giving you an out. Abby's like, I'm going to go spend time with Waverly and hang out with my niece and bond, because we know mama's crazy. And, even Waverly admitted that mama's crazy and brainwashed her against me. I have to go and do this so I can learn, to adapt with having a sister and being someone who was not my mother and Alistair. And I love that Abby said that in this. I'm not my mother or my father. Concept. It took her a minute, but she got it, which she should have known because her mother is absolutely evil. Her father was absolutely evil, but Abby still helped people. She helped save people. She kept the demon world from fighting witches throughout this entire, this season and from half last season. She kept the demon world from going after the charmed ones and all other witches. So, she has never been her mother or father. And I'm going to point out another Macy, because Macy couldn't go out with a smile. She couldn't go out with the last line of just telling her to be happy. And, and of course, Abby's like, is Mel here? And she's like, and smiles and gets all whatever. She had to have the last freaking line to show just how much she did not like Abby. And what she did is, and again, I'll get back to Abby and Mel in a minute. There's a scene where her and Harry are walking through safe space after he talks to Swan. I promise you I will backtrack over that because that scene bothered me too. And they're talking about, Abby being gone. And Harry's like, oh, she's gone. And Macy chooses to say, well, I guess even the worst of people can change. You just met her effing mother. You knew her effing father. And you're literally saying Abby was the worst of people. I'm like, you just couldn't let it go, Macy Vaughn. Abby, I don't care what anybody says. I don't, guys. The one thing Abby did to Macy, it's not taking her demon powers. The girl wanted them gone. It's not killing the witches at the beginning of season 2. It's not any of the little things that she did that were considered shady or against the charmed ones, even though she's done more, good for them than bad. That woman pressed her lips against Harry's. And Macy was not okay with that. And that is why Macy does not like Abigail. End story. Come at me. I don't care. Because that girl 180'd from that scene and was like, even the worst of people can change. F that. I'm like, angry grandma, get it. I'm like, so had to put that out there. Just had to put it out there. All right. But long story short, back to the whole Abby Mel scene. I loved her hugging her. I love the fact that, and guys, you'll have to see, I'm not looking at the comments, but please tell me in the comments. I'll come back to it. There is something that Abby says that I think was a shot out against, or a pot shot against Ruby. And I thought she said, and speaking of something, she's like, give the perky princess my best. I think she was talking about Ruby. I don't know if it's true. But I think that was her last shot at Ruby because the girl, Abby has it's not even a crush. The girl is like straight up love train for Mel. You saw it on her face. You saw when she was getting ready to, basically shimmy away. The girl's got it bad. She's got it bad. So I gotta say something about Ruby. No, this is a misconception I think somebody had about what I said about Ruby in a past review. I do not dislike Ruby. I don't think that her relationship with Mel makes sense. It's a U-Haul relationship. Something else is that I kind of thought was interesting is that in the last episode we saw Ruby in, she said, I will be here for you and this baby and all of this stuff. Well, Mel's going into labor and Ruby's with her mom. Like Ruby is like nowhere to be found because that is what happens with Mel's relationships. It's also what happens, unfortunately, in the CW with LGBT relationships. The other partner in the relationship that is not a main character has a revolving door unless they are also a main character. That's just the way they write it. It is a formula that you will see track across every CW show, from the Arrowverse to Roswell to Kung Fu to whatever. Those characters just effing disappear. It's what it was. Mel has literally a revolving door of women because for some reason they don't believe LGBT couples can have a stable relationship in the CW where they say dare to defy. I don't get it. I've never gotten it. As a queer woman, it is highly insulting. And I don't understand why they do that. I really don't. But you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to dwell on this. We have a lot more to talk about, but it's a thing. All right. So Abby, our girl Abby is gone. And we don't know. I guess my problem is that I don't know if they've ever announced if she's gone for good, if she's going to be coming back and making cameo appearances. I don't know. But I just feel like promoting her to a series regular and then her having kind of episodes every other episode. Again, like I said, Jordan's had a hell of a lot more play in the series than, Abigail has ever. It's just what it is. And now he's probably going to be with Maggie full time and blah, 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 blah. So it is what it is. I mean, it's just what, even if she became a main character again for our series regular for season 4, she would still be in every other episode or every 3 episodes. It's a thing, guys. I don't understand it. I guess they're scared. They scared. So it's a thing. All right. So let's get back to, we're going to go with Maggie. So Maggie is already in her feelings because of Jordan being possessed basically by the whispering evil. She's concentrating on their relationship. She's, it's just like, she's like, I'm sure that Jordan hates me. And I'm like, oh Lord, girl, priorities. The world is about to be destroyed. Well, she shows up at the command center where they're, I don't know if it was the command center. Was it the command center? I know wherever they're holding Swan. I think it was. And they had the containment field. And so Maggie's like, I'm going to get a premonition to see what happened, with Jordan, to see what the whispering evil is up to and how all of this started. So she goes up to, Harry and she's like, well, I want to do this. So Harry's been trying to like heal her or whatever, but his powers are on the fritz because he gave up his immortality. And like, for some reason, and I said this, guys, I told you this was going to happen. Something's going to happen and he's going to have all these regrets because they don't think things through in the Charm universe. They're just like, I want to be mortal. It looks cool. Oh, but now I'm weak and can't do anything. Something that Maggie pointed out, but I'll get to that. But he couldn't heal her. So Maggie's like, well, I'm going to get a premonition. And she's like, so I'm going to let down the containment, field. You hold Swan down and then I will try and get a premonition. And he's like, or you can just put your hand on the containment field. And I'm like, concept. Oh, that's funny as hell. But she's able to get a premonition and see that the whispering evil plans on basically infecting everyone using the water supply. So Maggie's like, we have to go right now. So she throws this marble and then they go, and she takes of course the marble with her and they go and they like basically try to start Jordan. She gets in a very kick-ass fight with him where she beats him with her nightstick, her retracting nightstick, but she gets scratched. And within 5 minutes, Maggie becomes my angry grandma character. Like she literally was talking some mad trash to him. She's like, who the hell gives up their immortality? Look at you. You can't do anything. You're useless. You are weak. You're basically a waste of effing space. And I was like, what? She wasn't wrong though. She wasn't wrong. He couldn't heal. He could barely orb. He couldn't contact anybody telepathically. She had the freaking marble when she ran off to go find Jordan again to take him out. So Harry like literally got beaten down by evil Jordan and broke his cell phone. He couldn't call for help. So Maggie was like, she went from like 0 to like 100 in 5 minutes. And she sort of felt it. She's like, oh, this feels horrible. This feels bad. It didn't stop. That girl was literally angry grandma. She was like, you effed up. And I was like, okay, you're nothing. You are a waste of space. Why are you here? You do not. Oh, you think I'm weak? And then she was like so confrontational. And Harry was like, wait, what? So it's okay because Harry decided to go and get, Macy, and they were going to go get Mel. He used his last orb to get there. And then they were going to go get Mel so they could go and pretty much take care of Jordan. Well, unfortunately, Mel had been going into labor this entire episode. So they called Josefina, and Josefina came and she made this really cool tea with lemon. Now, I nitpick. So she gives her this tea to stop the labor, but neglected to tell her before she took the tea that it also stopped her powers. She also was like, and this may not be the time to mention this. And in my mind, I was thinking with everything going on in this episode, you are absolutely right. Don't mention it. She's like, but your mother wrote to my mother and left a note to her sister, basically, and left a note telling her, basically confirming that she took the Book of Shadows and that she had her reasons. And so here's Mel, like, how am I going to be a good mother when I don't even understand my own mother? And then, Josefina's like, well, I'm so sorry. And then she spills the tea on the letter that they read. And there's like a little side story, like a little secret text on the side. And Mel's like, oh, wow. When I was growing up, my mother used to give us notes with secret text all the time. And Josefina's like, me too. And I'm like, and neither one of you thought that maybe there was more to this message? I'm like, it never clicked. I'm like, maybe there's more there. I'm like, but of course, their mother having the ability to see the future, having basically premonitions. She foresaw her daughters being the charmed ones. She knew she needed the Book of Shadows to help protect them. And she also knew if she had stayed with her family in Puerto Rico, that they would be in danger because they were not strong enough to fight off everyone that would want to take the charmed ones away from her, basically, and kill her daughters before she unbound their magic. So Marisol had her reasons. I mean, it doesn't explain why she has this affinity to cheat, but it does explain that. So you know what? That's fine. Maybe we'll still get more family, we'll meet more family members because Josefina, I mean, I love that she stole a marble to get there so fast because, she was like, do you know how hard it is to fly from Puerto Rico? You know how expensive that is? I'm not rolling in money, people. So, but Josefina looked pretty too. So I love how they did her hair. Her hair was really, really pretty. So. Got a little Josefina in here. They didn't bring her to come help. I mean, she's pretty much poison ivy, but why would we have her help fight either? That's silly. I mean, so Mel had to make a choice between her basically having the baby in the present or going to the future and battling out and saving Jordan from the Whisper Evil and essentially saving the world. So, of course, she chose to go and save the world. And so they have their little battle with the power of 3. Mel uses her demon fire power. They're able to separate the Whispering Evil from Jordan. But I will say before that, 2 cool things happen. First was the whole situation with Maggie when they first show up and she's talking crap to them. She's like, well, where the heck have you been? Took long enough. And then, of course, Mel starts going into labor and she's like, wait, what is going on with her? and Macy's like, Mel's in labor. And she's like, oh, and then Mel's like, if you don't hurry up, you're going to have to deliver this baby. She's like, no. And that is what got through to Maggie. But they used the power of 3 and they were able to separate, and save him. But right before that, Macy hit Jordan in the head with, I think, a gas can or something metal. There was something hard that should have instantly given him brain damage. Like, it is still his body. Why don't they understand this? They can't heal him. Harry's not a white lighter anymore. He will have to go to the hospital. I don't even understand how he was sitting there at the end of this episode with Maggie. He should have been in the hospital. But you know what? Suspend my disbelief. But we learned there was no symbol left behind. And so, of course, Macy's like, wait a minute. Every time we got rid of one of them, the magical creatures, and they went back to Tomb of Chaos, there was always a symbol left behind. And so she's like, I don't want to be paranoid, but I think something's up. So, of course, they go and visit, with, they basically break into Aladria's command center where she pretends to be a powerful witch because she's spiteful. And she's like, oh yeah, it's gone. I'm like, I told you it was resilient. So yeah, the reason that everybody was healed is because you got it out of the source body. So everyone that the host infected is automatically, so it's more like vampirism instead of zombieism, where the vampire, if you literally, heal or kill the main vampire that's your sire, then everybody essentially that got sired by this vampire is cured. That's what happened with this. But that means that the Whispering Evil is now adapted to another charmed power, which is technically the demon power, not charm power. It already knows the secret power that Macy has now. So they don't even have that as a leg up in the next time they have to face him because he now has seen it and can it sees it and can mimic it, basically, or memorize or defend against it. So now the Whispering Evil is going to be even more evil. And Mel's still going into labor. She doesn't think something's happening, or probably because they haven't defeated the Whispering Evil, her future self hasn't come back to get that baby. So she may be having that baby. The problem I had with the swan scene. So Harry's like talking to her and she's like, I just feel like I need to talk to somebody. She's basically having like issues, which of course you would have issues after going through all that. But he tries to convince her that she's dehydrated. She needs to, maybe, having all the stress and all this can give you neurological issues. I'm like, angry grandma, get him. No, I'm like, he will stop messing with mental illness people. Charmed is horrible with dealing with people with traumatic stress and PTSD. Horrible. Swan literally is getting re-brainwashed by Harry to believe that the trauma she's gone through is not real. And I find so many issues with that. That is BS. I'm sorry. I was sending angry grandma to stomp Harry in that scene while I was watching it. I do not know why the writers do not believe that mental health is something you should take, more seriously and not treat it as something that is in passing. Because I understand that Maggie has what I call placed or timed panic attacks. They only seem to happen in certain episodes when she's overly stressed. As somebody with anxiety disorder, that is not how life works. So that bothers me. It really bothers me because you want to protect the sister secrets. You want to protect the magical world. You're going to tell this girl to go. You just need to rehydrate. Go deep. Go. You're dehydrated. I don't like that. Whew. Like, guys. But overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I did. And like I said, Macy and her. And her dislike of Abby because of Harry. I mean, like even when she was telling Abby, your sister's trying to protect her daughter, basically telling her she's pressuring her and she doesn't understand. I'm like, Macy, you literally just tried to pressure the sister a second ago. And even Abby was like, even when I'm trying to help you, you don't take my side. Like that's some bull crap. So I'm like, I'm really worried for season 4. We don't have Abby. We did see a scene between Maggie and Jordan, which looks like they may be getting together. But right when they were about to kiss and they were talking about the constellations, because remember the episode back at the frat house when they were trying to find her piece of the Source's necklace, they were talking about her love for the stars and constellation and all that. Well, they had that same little conversation and she's like, well, maybe he's like, well, that's always going to be your thing. And she's like, well, maybe it could be our thing. And he's like, do we have a thing? And right before they're about to kiss each other, of course, Mel needs you. That little run Maggie did when she got up and ran. She was like, blah, blah, blah. She looked like my character in Animal Crossing. It was adorable. It was really, really cute. But I don't know what Jordan and Maggie are. I mean, it's implied that they have a thing now, but they don't just come out and really say it. And I don't know why. So it's like, why can't you just say, you know what? I was a bunghole. Like when her and Jordan were talking to each other and the Whispering Evil was like basically saying how, Jordan is mad at you. Jordan just thinks you fooled around with his emotions, like all the stuff that she was actually doing. The Whispering Evil was calling her out on as Jordan and then some, and then going the extra mile to hurt her feelings. And so she was triggered by that when she was evil. She said, this person hurt my feelings. And I'm like, but some of the stuff he was saying was true. Like they were calling out stuff in this episode, like Harry being useless, Maggie being flaky, wishy-washy with Jordan. Like all of that stuff is accurate. So I was really happy about that. But I don't know, guys. I feel like I'm really hoping that there's more to season 4, but I'm worried because I don't know. I don't want to have I just don't want to have a season 4 be 100% Hasty because I kind of feel like that's what they're going to do. And I like Hasty. I just feel like that would bore the hell out of me and it would make me disinterested in watching the show. So I don't know if we're going to go back to our Demons of the Week that we had in season 1, which I loved. Because we're so into these big epic battles, these big epic things, the apocalyptic end of the world scenarios every freaking week, that it's like, we just want to have one demon of the week, bring us somebody, like it could even be somebody stereotypically like a werewolf, a vampire. I don't care. Bring us a magical being that is not from the Tomb of Chaos, that's from the actual magical world. Let us see people from the actual magical world. And stop doing these end of the world scenarios weekly. It's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, I just feel like it's done so much in this series. It's just really, really done. But again, it is what it is. All right. So that is my recap. Let's see, 29 minutes and 25 seconds and counting. So let's start. We got a lot of comments over here. Let me roll up. Okay. I probably missed a bunch of them too. I'm sorry. Yes, Waverly standing up for Abby. I'm so happy they're finally on the same side. Yes, yes, yes. They were giving me Waverly and Winona Phil's. Can they bring Abby back, please? Unless you guys know something that I don't know if she's coming back. I don't know if this was the actress literally saying, okay, bye guys for the season, or if this was the actress saying, it's been real, love being on the show, peace out, I'm moving on to other things. I don't know. But they left the door open for her to come back in the future. So, but again, I'm probably going to get some frowns, some thumbs down for this. I do not like Mel with Ruby. They bore me. I'm sorry. They're just boring. She's literally become a yes woman. Everything is, I can do this for you, Mel. I can conform to your life, Mel. I could be what you need me to be, Mel. Even though I honestly wanted nothing to do with the magical world, I'm completely down with doing everything you need because you're a charm one and this is what I need to do to be your girlfriend. That is just a U-Haul relationship. That is bullcrap. I do not like that at all. I would have loved more antagonistic, conversations about, I want to be with you, but it's me or magic. That's how that should have went down. But it didn't. She just rolled over. And I don't know. I don't like that. I don't know why Abby acknowledging that she's not her father made me sob, but it did. The personal growth is undeniable. She's traumatized. But again, remember, in Charmed, you can't have trauma. I've already figured that out. Well, the pacing was awful and all the dialogue was so contrived and corny more than usual. Seems like they're making episodes just to get through to the fourth season. There are moments, like I said, I like that they made fun of themselves. So a lot of the dialogue was basically, and I think it's sad when a show makes fun of its own writing because that is what happened. They literally probably sat in the writer's room and thought, this was a mess. This was a mess. Made an outline of things they thought were the mess in terms of what they came up with, and then put it in this episode for other characters to call them out on. That's what I think happened. And I thought that was funny. Well, we finally got some answers about Marisol. I'm shocked that the writers fixed a plot hole. Yeah, because that's not what they normally do. Right? It's about time Abby has someone on her side. I agree. Macy's powers are back. Yes, Queen. I am very happy that she got her powers back. Even though technically I cannot blame Abby for her getting rid of them because she did it herself. She wanted them gone. Why are the writers playing with my heartstrings? We could have had it all with Abby and Mel. I know they have more chemistry in one scene than Mel and Abby have had the entire season and a quarter that she was in with Mel. I don't get it. Abby being the voice of reason for her sister. I can't stop crying. Talk about a redemption arc gone right. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Waverly was like, oh, she's not going to kill you. I got you. Yeah, I do think that they need to watch Waverly. Waverly is definitely the one with the less aversion to having a conscience to killing her mom. Oh, let's not forget Ruby. Oops, we did. I mean, you want us to take this relationship seriously. And like, look at this. I mean, just straight out look at it. The one time Mel and her could have been together physically, Ruby was out of town. Then she comes back and they can't touch each other again. Then they can touch each other because of the baby, and Ruby makes all these promises. And then the next episode, she's out of town again visiting her mom. I'm like, your girlfriend has a pregnancy that is not on a normal pregnancy timeline, can go into labor at any time. Ruby, where in the hell are you? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't ship it. I just don't. They rushed Abby's plot. I knew they were going to do that. I should be grateful that they didn't kill her off. But at this point, I'm just dissatisfied. Yeah, because like I don't understand why they didn't use all the help they can get. Her sister, Josefina, everybody to fight the whispering evil. Because every bit of magic that they can get their hands on is a plus. She is still the demon overlord. The demon overlord could have been very instrumental in stopping the whispering evil because it affected her in the future. She fought by Mel's side and all of the rest of the rebellion or whatever against the whispering evil in the future. Why did you not have, Abby, Waverly, and even Josefina, Poison Ivy in there helping you? It's just like, it's my frustration all over again with the Arrowverse. How they don't call each other for help in their cities. It doesn't make any sense. Now that Macy and Mel have their old powers back, I wonder if Maggie will get hers back. Now we have to make sure that Mel has her powers back permanently. We still don't know if that's the baby or not. So, but I mean, I don't know. Maggie's powers have evolved from just being an empath and premonitions. She can use her emotions as weapons. So I don't know. I don't know why they messed it all up to begin with. Jordan really needs therapy after this episode. Your boy went blind. Your boy should have been brain damaged. That's what he should have been. Also, Swan needs therapy as well. The girl was possessed for ages. Yep, and she kept saying, she is so freaking adorable. Did somebody say family? Waverly stepping up. Yep, I am happy that the reason that she's leaving is to go spend time with Waverly and her daughter. So I'm happy that Abby has that. Can't wait for the season finale. I really want Parker to actually get in with the sisters too. I think that would be cool. They find Parker and they make amends, or Abby makes amends with Parker and they bring their brother in. I think that would be very cool. Let's see. So happy Waverly and Abigail are getting together again. Abigail and the Charmed Ones are finally getting along. So happy. So maybe the perky princess was Maggie. I don't think Abby would acknowledge Ruby at all. So she probably said that about Maggie. She didn't say bye to Maggie. The whole thing with Macy just was weird. That whole interaction with her, that was weird. The only scene that I liked her was Mel, and Mel did not do the standard, oh, Abby, stop being annoying. No, Mel was like staring at her, got up and gave her a hug. Like that whole scene I love that scene. I love it. But at the same time, it sucks if we never intend to bring Abby back. It just sucks. This episode was bittersweet. I know how I feel. I don't know how I feel anymore. I know. I'm just like, it's a thing. Macy with that firepower. Get it, girl. I actually like her firepower better than her telekinesis, honestly. Abby is finally getting the family she always wanted and needed. I just wish she didn't have to leave to get it. Yeah, she looked like, I'm telling you, if you still have the episode and you can DVR it, look at her face when she's leaving Mel. The entire, like when she holds her hand out and Mel stands up and she has this look on her face, and then Mel hugs her and she has this like tortured look because she wants to say how she actually feels again, but she can't. So it's just that whole scene. Poppy is a damn good actress. She literally had me like almost in tears saying, this woman really wants to tell this woman she loves her. She's like, I literally want pictures of you and the future you, and I need to know you're okay, and I need the baby is okay. Send me stuff. And I'm like, wow, much better than her and Ruby. I'm sorry. This episode was bomb. What got me is that Aladdin said that it wasn't the end of the Whispering Aladdin. I'm going to call Aladdin from now on. I love that. Nope. Don't fix it, Aladria. Her name now is Aladdin. Hi, Sunrise. How are you? The most disappointing, this was wasted potential of Abby Mel. So many fans love the dynamic. It could have been a huge CW ship like Clexa. Well, let's think about what they did to Clexa. They killed Lexa off. So, I mean, I guess it's a plus that they didn't kill off Abigail, but let's be clear. This will take 10 seconds. Tony and Cheryl, Ryan and Joe, Sophie and Kate, technically Ryan and Angelique, technically. Let's see, Bess and Elizabeth. On Roswell, New Mexico, they literally have a bisexual male who has an ex-boyfriend and had a current girlfriend and was in a love triangle. And what they decided to do was have all of them sleep together in a threesome, which actually is something that they say bisexuals do all the time. So they basically created a biphobic experience in Roswell, thinking they were being, open and fluid in their storytelling. So I can go down the list. The only canon couple for me right now that's LGBT that has not been effed up is Sarah and Ava. And Ava's a freaking clone, and now Sarah's a freaking alien hybrid. So, I mean, it's like they couldn't even be normal with that. So, yeah, unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast. The CW says that they're all about writing great LGBT stories. They hire LGBT writers and LGBT showrunners, and it's like I'm watching Jerry Springer. So it's very strange. Why on God's green earth did Maggie think she can fight that demon monster, that damn monster alone? We could ask questions about him, Maggie, and what she thinks all day. This is not the first time this has happened. So I don't know why she thinks she can do it, especially after how she saw they got their butts handed to them in the last episode. Maybe because they had a hiatus, she forgot what happened in the previous episode. I wish the whole magical ultrasound moment ended with revealing the other parent of Mel's baby. Yeah. And she's like, do you want to know the hair color and the eyes? And I'm thinking, okay, if this was your baby with, now, first of all, in an LGBT marriage, I know we can't get each other pregnant. So, but just say magically, you can take 2 DNAs from 2 women and make a magical baby pregnancy. Because, maybe they can. Maybe they found out how to do it. If it was Ruby's baby, that baby probably would have dark hair and dark eyes because Mel also has dark hair and dark eyes. So there would be no mystery. But when she said that you want to know the color of the eyes and the hair, I was thinking, okay, so Abby does not have dark eyes. And Abby has kind of lighter brown. She has dark brown, but a lighter shade of like reddish brown hair. So there could be a little bit of something mixed in there. As a mixed kid, we come out of every flavor. So I got excited by that. But again, of course, Mel's like, no, that could just mess everything up, I think. So I'm like, all right, whatever. The episode was bomb. What got me was that Aladria said the Whispering Evil was coming back. I mean, I kind of feel like she knew it was coming back the whole freaking time. She told them what to do to separate them. She didn't say it was a permanent solution. They never asked her the questions they should ask her. They should be like, so if we do this, then we never see the Whispering Evil again, correct? They don't never ask that question. They're just like, oh, we just need to surprise the Whispering Evil with something that the Whispering Evil hasn't seen yet. And bam, victory, KO. And then if you haven't seen the symbol, why did it take Macy so long as a scientist, an observant person, to realize that when they vanquished this thing, that there was no symbol on the ground? I mean, that should have been something they immediately thought, is it gone? Do you see a symbol? But no, we had to wait until they go to safe space and they traumatize Swanmore, or Harry traumatizes Swanmore to even have that conversation. It was so weird. Why do they try to solve every problem with potentiator electric thing? Because that's all they got. That's all they got. Part of me enjoyed this episode. The other part of me is genuinely upset that Poppy's leaving. Yeah, I agree with that. I look forward to Abigail, actually every episode. Even if it wasn't a ship thing for me with Abby Mel, I still liked her character. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. The most disappointing thing, the wasted potential of Abby Mel. So many fans love the dynamic. Okay, I think I already read that one. So I might be going backwards. The CW screw up all the time. Yes, they do. So Poppy in a suit. Yep. I really like that suit. A bright pink suit. She was channeling her inner Pink Ranger. Somebody's got to do it. Abby's mom has a cool power, that transport power or whatever it's called. Yeah, I was very a transformative witch. I like how Macy was like, oh. I'm like, you want that power. You're like, think about how many marbles you can save. But yeah, it's crazy. The weakness of the Whispering Evil is sound. Yep. And we got to see Mel use her Elsa power again. She didn't freeze it. She froze it. Literally, technically still froze it, or was freezing it. Even after Mel told Macy Abby was actively working on returning her power, she was still bitter. I'm telling you, that girl is like, so Abby, she got a cure for COVID. She cured cancer. She stopped world hunger, but that biatch kissed my man, so she is a waste of space. That is literally all. That is Macy's mode. Abby equals you kiss my man, therefore you are trash. And if her sister had done that, if Mel had just kissed Harry and she was bi instead of being a lesbian, there wouldn't be charm ones. She wouldn't let it go. I've said from day one that Macy holds a grudge. People always tell me, no, Macy doesn't hold a grudge. The same people told me that Abigail wasn't in the Mel when I've been saying it since season freaking 2. I've been saying this since her freaking banter with Mel. The scene where they were in the prison, I said, oh, Abby has a thing for Mel. They're like, nah, that's crazy. Just saying. Macy holds a grudge. Oh, sorry. When Abby's mother was about to slit her throat, Abby basically begged her to kill her, and I was tearing up. The fight left her, even if it was just for a moment. Yeah, her mom is so, God, that woman. I don't know why she hates Abigail so much. She's much eviler than Abby. I mean, she was trying to take her, basically take her grandbaby's powers just to get another power set, and I guess to keep herself young, whatever she was trying to do with Waverly's daughter's abilities. I mean, that's really messed up. And the fact that the mother was still like, Waverly, why are you here? She was 180. She was like, die, bitch. And then she was like, oh, Waverly, I'm going to take care of her. So your sister will never hurt you again. She's like, well, technically abuse runs downhill. So it's really your fault. She's like, all of your fault, Matilda. Okay, but how did Abby and Waverly end up with telekinesis and their mom get transportation powers? Well, I kind of feel like a lot of witches get telekinesis. It seems to be something that is random. Like, remember in season 2, there was a little girl that had the ability to stop time. So, I mean, I don't think that these are charmed abilities. I just feel like they are just random to whatever gene pool, whatever family you're connected to. Because I'm always curious, these other witches out there, like, who were their families? And how did they get their abilities? Like, I always want to know, like, the bloodlines, because we knew in OG Charmed, they had Melinda Warren. And I'm sure Melinda Warren's children branched out and had little babies with them and stuff. But I don't remember seeing a bunch of really powerful covens. Like, all the covens I remember seeing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a minute since I watched all of OG Charmed. I don't remember past them casting spells, them having different abilities like the charm ones did. And I mean, I could be wrong. There could be a few that had some, but I remember seeing other types of magical beings. We had like shamans and things like that would come in, but I don't remember like having witch lines have freezing ability, premonition, telekinesis, and all of that. Well, I could be forgetting. I'm old. So, but I feel like in this universe, they do have those. And like, I would love to know why, like what started all of this. Now, I know that Black Amber is the source of all of their powers, but how were these families chosen and then the other humans were not? I'm just curious how that works. The writers never make sense again. Yeah. She can teleport more than just people because she teleported the dagger into her hand to kill Abby. True. Objects and people. If they had like the like white lighter effect, the blue white lighter effect, I would swear she was Paige. I'm gonna hate the next episode because I don't like it. Harry centric. It's very annoying. It's a show about 3 sisters, not 3 sisters and their white lighter. That man is forefront in all of it. It should be the Charm 4. I'm just saying. Harry got thrown so much shade. Maggie was such a moo calling out pointless Harry is without powers. I mean, it's true though. She's like, who's stupid enough to give up their immortality? Who does that? You're just a waste of space. You can't do crap. I was like, whoa, she on a roll. Abby was ready to transfer the Demon Overlord titles to some rando and skip off into the sunset with her sister. There's no way her character isn't leaving. Yeah, she did say I would threaten them. I'll come back and hang them up by their toes if they go after witches. But I love how that was what Macy was concerned about. Like, who's going to take over keeping us from being attacked by demons? I mean, you don't do anything for us, Abby. You don't ever do the right thing. But if you're gone, who's going to stop us from being at war with the demon world? And I'm like, priorities. Poppy only had a 2-year contract, so she's definitely not coming back, at least not in the same capacity. That is so stupid. Not angry grandma. Angry grandma is here to stay, guys. You're going to have to. This is how I cope with this, okay? That's how I cope. Harry becoming a white lighter again is basically OG Charmed all over again. Hi, Leo. They always take OG stories. They just morph it. Like Mel being pregnant, and it's like Piper being pregnant. Like the only thing is Mel's actress got pregnant in real life. Doesn't mean that one of the sisters wasn't going to go through that. More than likely it was going to be Macy, since she's kind of in the whole situation that Piper was in with the white lighter. But because Mel got pregnant in real life, they had to switch it. So now Mel's the one. Because I mean, think about this. Do you know how hard it is to come up with, a storyline for a lesbian to be pregnant in the future who's in a relationship with another female? We don't have the parts to make babies ourselves. So obviously, there was intervention of some sort. Who is the daddy and why was she with a daddy unless it was a donor situation? So, and then why did you do that? Why were you pregnant in the middle of this, this freaking, whispering evil situation? It's weird. It is weird. And then how far in the future? I guess it's 5 years in the future. Like, all of that's just weird. It's just very, very weird. Poor Swan. Somebody tell her the damn truth. Nobody. They can't. They would rather this girl have a mental effing breakdown than literally tell her that, yeah, everything you experienced was real. That is so sad. That girl, I mean, she's going to have so much trauma because no matter what people say in the magical world, the human psyche is fragile and it will always, we've learned this from anime. It's whatever is traumatizing you will always find a way to come out, be it panic attacks, being PTSD, being like some kind of phobia to something and you don't understand why, noises bother you. I mean, there could be health consequences. They don't think about any of this stuff. I don't know why. It's weird. Abby giving up that demon overlord title so easily somehow isn't believable for me. Yeah. I mean, in a way, I guess because she wants to be with her sister and her niece. She doesn't want to be her dad or her mom. So I guess being in charge of the demon world probably is the opposite of that goal. So she's trying to make herself better, which, let's be clear, the speech she told Mel, your compassion, your integrity, all that made me want to be a better person. Not my sister, not all the other good that I've done to help you guys, but Mel. Mel is the main reason why she wants to be a better person. She even said it during her trial episode. So Mel is the inspiration for her getting her shiz together. So I can kind of see it if you want to keep the girl in your life. The overlord position is now open. If they bring Parker back, I'm done. I'm being real with you. It's not that I don't like the character Parker. It's just that it's another shot at, we can't have, Abigail here anymore. And then potentially a really hot and potentially really stable LGBT coupling, but we're going to throw in another damn love triangle and between Jordan and Parker. I can't handle it. Parker coming back as the overlord, even though he gave his powers up. And I wonder where Parker is. Where is Parker now? So I have lots of questions. Can someone get an attack on witches so Abby comes back just to hang them out by their toes, please? Yeah. I hope Poppy doesn't get harassed for leaving the show. If a platform wrote my character like that and I had a way out, I feel like I would leave too. Yeah, there are so many people that hate Abigail. It's crazy. They hate Abby. They hate her. And I'm always in my feelings about it when I do my Motherland Fort Salem reviews, because I see some of the same people that I've seen on boards and even in my streams or on my videos and comments saying that Abigail did this and she's horrible and I can't see her with Mel because she's mean. And then they get on my Motherland Fort Salem stuff and they're just like, but Scylla's amazing, even though Scylla killed 1,601 people, but she's cute with Raelle. It is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so weird. It is so, especially for imaginary content. It's so weird. You're right. That girl is still salty about that Abby Gary kick. You already know. She was like, I didn't get to kiss Harry before you kissed Harry. F you. I mean, that is it. She is like, there is no other reason Macy is like this. There's no other reason. Tell us Maria facts. Macy only didn't know like Abby because her and Harry flirted with the idea. Yep. And Harry, they act like Harry was victimized. That's something else I don't like. Harry wasn't fighting her off. He wasn't like, oh, my lips, my heavenly lips. No, he was not. He was like, bring it. Macy, because remember, when she saw them, she decided to go and sleep with Julian in Aspen. Took the command center, got the magic marble, showed up and slept with Julian. Got in a relationship with Julian. She had no right to say a damn thing about anything that Harry did because they were not a couple. So that girl bitter. She's bitter. And considering she comes from a whole line of women that have no problem cheating, I don't know what's wrong with her. Well, I want to be fair. I don't know what Josefina's family is like. They probably aren't people that cheat, but Mama Marisol is a cheater. Maggie was a cheater. And she did. She cheated. Parker had a girlfriend and she had no problem getting with Parker. Technically, Macy was not a cheater, but she did have feelings for Harry and go and sleep with another guy kind of to distract herself, which means you really, even though Julian turned out to be in a situation that was kind of messed up, you really were messing with this guy's emotions by giving him, she led him on because she was in her feelings about Harry. And that to me is actually just as worse. So I don't get it, Macy. I don't get it. Plot how Macy becomes demon or overlord. No, Perky Princess is Maggie. Okay. Yeah, that was my second guess. Like I said, that's probably more than likely because she didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Maggie, that the Perky Princess. I don't see her as the Perky Princess, though. I really don't. I see her as the Anxiety Princess. I thought she was talking about Maggie because that's what she had called Maggie. I don't remember her pet names for Maggie, so More than likely, you are definitely right. Perky Peanut. You're right. She did refer to her to Perky Princess because she also called her Perky Peanut. Okay. That makes sense. I guess Ruby's no threat to Abby. Okay, let me. Abby's final quote for now is "Change is a process." CW should look at that. Process. Abby will totally be missed. She was my favorite and was the reason I mostly watched. Sad to see her go. Hope she comes back. I'm pretty much with you. Mel was always my favorite charm one. Actually, she's redeeming herself a little bit because she was channeling Macy a few times in this season, but she went back to herself, and so I'm okay with her again. For now anyway. But Macy and even sometimes Maggie's whole, this is the year of me. I don't want to deal with all this drama. Her love problems are just too much for me sometimes. They're just too much. That girl needs therapy too. Macy would be a horrible demon owner unless she's a horrible owner of safe space. How the hell she can imagine demons if she can't even imagine vegan hippies, new agers, and coffee lovers? You are absolutely right, Ray. You called it. Ruby says, I'll be here for you, Mel. Then Mel going to give birth. Nobody ever thinks, where the hell is her boo at? I'm telling you, it doesn't make sense. Ruby is literally off with her family, and yet they unhaul their relationship. Makes no sense. Can't even stick to an offensive lesbian stereotype. I know, because she was like, I thought girl was moving into the house. Because she was like a hardcore. She was like, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I'm in it for the long run. If this baby is in your life, then the baby's in my life. But I got a flight at 3:15, so I'm out. I'm like, okay. Yep, it's why I was so excited that when I saw Poppy listed as a main character for season 3, it meant Mel could have possibly got a relationship with Def. Yeah, but you see, I was always scared because, again, it is a CW show. So I don't ever hold stock in any of that. I meant to do my Kung Fu review today, but I got held up with a voiceover, like I have voiceover work. So I didn't get done in time, but I was in my feelings about something that happened with that. And the whole situation with Ryan and Joe just was another CW tragedy. So it's a thing. What about Kate and Sophie, Nissa and Sarah Lance? No, Kate and Sophie are not a good example. Kate just dumped Sophie in the finale and was like, I'm going to go find my cousin. And that was it. Went through all of this stuff, wrote this letter, finally got your love out. And it's like, peace out. Besides, they can't hook her up with Sophie. They got to make her a bat chaser. She's got to go with Ryan now. She has to be with every Batwoman in the series. Come on now. CW writing. The potential for Abby to smoke everywhere was a missed opportunity. I agree. Mel has met Abby's parents before she met Ruby's. Apparently, she's not allowed to meet Ruby's mom, I guess. How would Ruby explain to her mother why her girlfriend's knocked up? Legends of Tomorrow is the exception of a lot of CW things. I agree. I love that they had the green drink, the green smoothie, which is basically what we see Zari always have and try and get Constantine to drink. It was what Swan was going for. So I thought that was really funny. The thing is, Abigail should have never been a series regular, in my opinion. I mean, might as well. Might as well not have been. She wasn't in the series regularly. So, I can't argue with that. This episode was crazy. I agree. Legends is the only show that did it right, and I don't even watch it. You should. It's funny as hell. It is not connected, as far as I'm concerned, to the Arrowverse, even though they're supposed to be whatsoever. So it's funny. But they have a actual functional lesbian couple that the fact that they're two women together it's not even something they talk about. They literally are treated like every other couple in the show. And it is so refreshing to me to see that. And like I said, the CW has just not hit the mark anywhere else with this. They just need to stop. They really do. And I'm in my feelings again. The whole thing with Roswell and biphobia is somebody who identifies as bisexual and who's in an LGBT marriage. The one thing that we're constantly told is that when you're bisexual, you want your cake and eat it too, or you have no problem being with a man and a woman at the same time. You're into threesomes and blah, 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 blah. I have friends that look at stuff like Tinder, and when they say they're bisexual, the first thing the person says is, oh, me and my partner would like to hook up with you. And then you watch a show like Roswell that has a guy who identifies as bisexual, who has an ex-boyfriend and now is with a woman. And the way that they deal with their relationship drama and the triangle that this is by all three of them sleeping together. That is literally, don't get low. Like I said, CW. Abby is what I wish if they did like a true reboot of OG Charmed, I would want to play a modern Edge Prue. I love Prue. I love Prue. Love Prue. Prue would have all of them straight if she was in this episode. I was also, again, as a biracial, multiracial woman, every time I look at Macy and she has her hair in braids or she doesn't have her hair natural or her 4C or 4B curls, she does not look completely black. She looks completely ambiguous. She looks like she could be a lot of different nationalities. And so I've always thought it was interesting that she is the only one in the whole series that has issues with BLM. Like that, everything that happens that is racist and everything that is against anybody who is black only happens to Macy. But Macy is not really dark skinned. So it's very interesting to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why they would make Abby's character confirm her deep emotional caring for Mel if she leaves the show. I feel like I'd rather be kept in the dark at this point. This to be a harsh reality. Yep. Well, it's the same thing in Kung Fu. I'm sorry I keep going back to that. I mean, the character finally came out to his Chinese parents about introducing his boyfriend. They accept the boyfriend. 5 minutes after he's invited to dinner or the party or the wedding, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I got a job. And I'm out, and we never see him again. There's no closure. There's no goodbye. There's just like they broke up and he left. And that is it's what it is. I saw as I'm hinting that Abibel maybe was in the work, so it made sense. Jaws is what happens to secondary characters who are supposed to be important. Like I said, I just don't want this to end up being a Cole thing. I'll be so mad. Harry was a white lighter for like 2 years and he's already tired. I don't know why. He was a white lighter, but he also had Tessa and he had Fiona and he had Celeste and he had like all these other, he has all these other interventions. Hell, even Jada was half white lighter. He wasn't working alone. He's never been working alone. I don't get that at all. He needs to do more to be tired. I'm like, I don't get it. How the hell Harry not think of giving away his magic would be a problem and make him a major liability to any magical being left alone. Charm ones, it's the weak point. I agree. I agree. Not Maggie and Jordan's kiss getting interrupted almost 2 whole seasons and they still haven't pecked. This ain't a slow burn. This is a snail burn. Man, what do you mean snail burn? They haven't even lit the match. The only burn I'm seeing right now is freezer burn. I think it's because CW didn't expect the show to last, so they gave them the go-ahead for so many things that actually took off. Could be. Infected Maggie embodied teenage angst for me. I'm telling you, that was angry grandma. You want to know what angry grandma is? That is angry grandma, only older. Anyone else notice that Abby and Josefina never interacted despite being around the same people? Yeah. I mean, like I said, this goes back to why the hell didn't you bring back up in the fight against the Whispering Evil? If this is really the end of the world, if I'm a charm one, and I know there are powerful beings near me, a half demon, half witch, a full witch, my cousin who is poison ivy, do you think for 1 effing second, I'm going to be like, all right, us two are going to teleport to our sister who is already compromised, convince her to fight with us to take on the Whispering Evil. The only advantage we have right now is that Macy has her firepower. Now, let me tell you what he hasn't seen from the Charm ones. He hasn't seen Poison Ivy, the demon overlord who's also half witch, and a sister who is also telekinetic and obviously has no problem killing. So, I mean, why did you not bring back up? I don't get it. It does not make sense to me. But this is a writing problem because I did not dislike this episode. I just have to call it out because it is what it is. Yes, I love that we're getting more Marisol. I need to know more about Marisol. Raise your hand if you've been new if you ran away because of the dangers from the Charm ones and they would need the book. All of us knew that because we always knew that her power was premonition. I'm like, wait, I mean, it wasn't a question of why. It's just a question of did she really do it? But everyone knows she took the book. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer. The Whispering Evil is the symbiont. Yeah, it's Venom. Like, I thought Abby was going to help with the Whispering Evil. It seemed like she just dipped. Next thing you know, she's knocking on TCL's door after things are supposedly resolved. Like, how did she know? Did they call her and be like, everything's cool now, you can come over? Oh, I don't know. It was a toolbox. It was a toolbox. Thank you. Still. Brain damage. Like, if you hit somebody in the head, like, did they not watch other series with people being possessed and the damage you do to the physical form is the damage you do to the actual person, he should be in the hospital. Now, how come every girl Mel is feeling deep before the big battle but Ruby? Because the U-Haul had to go out of town. Again. She flung a toolbox at him, then he flew into the air, ducked on the ceiling. That man should be dead. Dead. In the head, by the way. He should be dead. Jordan needs the ER and a worthy psychologist. Something else, thank you. Mel is going into labor. Maggie does her little cute Animal Crossing run into the house. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I may be wrong. Hold on. Let me put on my non-chapping lipstick for this because, got to call it. Got to do it. Got to keep ourselves fresh for this, okay? Is Jordan not a whole flipping paramedic / combat medic? Does he not have medical training? So therefore, when your younger sister, Maggie, who has never, worked in the healthcare field a day in her life outside of her psychology degree she's currently getting, you call her to come in the house to help with the labor pains when you again have a guy who is medically trained sitting outside staring up at the stars. Explain. Explain. Kill the sire, breaks the wire bond. Everybody was healed. The reason we didn't get Mel, Abby, Ruby drama was probably because Poppy's leaving. They should have renewed her contract. That is so stupid. So stupid. Swan got brainwashed every time. Find the true source of the WE and destroy it. Speaking of Swan, remember last season I always joked that she was either like the granddaughter or great-granddaughter of Harry's, one of James, basically James Westwell's conquest from his second family that they still haven't told us about or given us insight into. Or she was like the ultimate evil. Well, she was part of the ultimate evil. So technically we did call that. So she did play a really big role in almost ending the world. So Swan was a little instrumental. And I guess they needed to do that with Swan because Swan is literally in every 12th episode. Like she just effing disappears. I don't know why. I don't mind them gaslighting Swan after what happened to Prue in season 3. Even the dentist flipped on them. Well, again, we are in an age. Remember, Charmed, OG Charmed was filmed in the 90s where people didn't think about consequences. It was also filmed in San Francisco and the gay people didn't exist. And if they did, they were only in for like a microsecond. So let's talk about the fact that we now know, and we should have always known, that mental health is a big deal. And you got people who've been sitting in their houses for over a year and a half almost because of COVID with no contact to anybody. They probably don't have family or friends. And this is their lifeline. And you're basically saying mental health doesn't mean anything. So that is a problem for me. Honestly, I would get Abby's mom, let the whispering evil possess her, then kill them both. She said, kill the host, him. And that's what I would do. I don't know. What did they do with her mom? Because I know Abby's like, she's not worth it. Did they just leave her in Essex and her or Suffolk in her house? She's just sitting there in a summer house chilling out. I really foresee the daughters having issues with the mother because if they didn't imprison her, they should have put her mom in the Tomb of Chaos. That's what they should have done. They should have put her in the Tomb of Chaos. And then she would have just relived her crap over and made her live. They should have put her mom in the Tomb of Chaos as Abby and let her be abused over and over again. That would have been punishment right there. Just like when Macy saw the house and said, you grew up here. And she said, well, a frightening picture, the picture of the skull. She said, more frightening to know that was over the basically over my bed growing up. So messed up. What even is Charm season 4? I don't know. What else can they do with the show? I mean, I have no idea. Same. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch season 4. Anyone else feel the same? I'm worried about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready for them to go back home so Macy can have her career back and the show have a little bit more balance of being a witch and balancing their mortal lives as well. That is what really sets. I need them to get the hell out of Seattle too and go back to Hilltown. I don't get it. But again, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I definitely watch season 4 stream. I just don't know if I'll watch the show. I'll review it because even when it's a train wreck, I've always been a Charm fan. So, and again, I don't dislike the characters. It is all writing choices. I mean, it's just, I hate that the continuity and decision making in this show is flopped back and forth so much. I forgive you. I don't forgive you. I like you. I'm not your friend. You are very helpful. You've done nothing to help us whatsoever. You know, it's just like, I'm not just talking about Abby. I'm talking about across the board. So it's just weird. I thought glowing eyes was a demon theme because Macy got them when she took on the Source and the Verillas and the demon. They got the blood for Parker from had them. So is Francesca part demon too? Huh. You know what? That is a really good, that might be another plot hole we need to investigate. Because I don't know. And that's a very good point, though. I don't think I've ever seen another witch have their eyes glow like that. So yeah, that's a good question. The reboot and the OG apart tier-wise for still, and the apart tier-wise for storytelling. Yeah, they're like I said, they can't. Mm-mm. They cannot. Let's see. Sorry, it jumped down, so it kind of threw me off. So I want to make sure that I get everybody's comments in. So I'm going to go here. These LGBT writers are messy. They are. They absolutely. I want to say Carolyn Dryas is actually I know she does Batwoman, but I think she also does Roswell. Don't quote me on that, but if she is, and it makes perfect sense why they did what they did in that show. I've been treating myself with video games, Susie. At least some games were able to provide some good same-sex representation. True. Manga's pretty good. You get some good manga out there. Some comics, pretty good. Depending on the series, pretty good representation. CW, absolutely hell no. Season 4 is just going to be Hasty and the Adventures of Mel and Baby Benny. Because Benadryl will be born probably in the next episode. I do not believe these are LGBT writers. I want to know. I'm really curious. But to be fair, I mean, you're going to have problems even in the LGBT community because like every group of people, there's always people that are kind of problematic. I love the L word. I love the L word Generation Q, but they have always L word and L word Generation Q has a problem with trans representation. They are very big to say we have a transgender character, but then their stories always end up on the back burner for everyone else. So I've always said this. I know a lot of people always say this in the LGBTQAI plus community. Generally speaking, the L and the G seem to be the only ones that actually matter. And that has always been a problem. So Miss Aladdin is just pressed and depresso. I agree. F Aladdin. She was cracking me up in there, command center. I'm a powerful witch. She was look, that girl. She in her feelings. This was my fear with establishing these and games relationships so soon in the series. It's stunts and storyteller aspects of them and their life steps. So all we have is Power Rangers. Yeah. Poppy will be coming back. I'm declaring and manifesting. Hey, put it out in the universe. Hi, Nicholas. How are you? Abigail looks so femme in that suit. I was so shook. That Poppy is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Abby is really gone. No, when am I gonna watch now? I know it's like because she brought so much charisma in that, and like I'm telling, her and Mel have so much chemistry together. It's crazy. It is crazy. Magical Power Rangers are Planeteers. Magical. Well, they do have Mystic Force. A lot of fans wanted Hasty, though, but I think focusing so much on it has hindered the show, which should be about 3 sisters, not a single ship. I agree. A lot of people felt that was a problem with OG. Everybody focused on Leo and Piper so much. Will they get together? Will the elders mess with them? You know, can they get pregnant? Blah, blah, blah. So it became, I kind of feel like it's the same frustrating thing in this plot. They have prided themselves on separating themselves from OG Charmed, but all they've done is adapt the same effing stories, but with a little twist to them. So I mean, it's the same thing. You know, it's crazy to me. It is crazy to me. She didn't freeze it. She froze it. That made me laugh so much. I mean, it's true. She channeled that. She got her inner Elsa on. Abby was channeling her Carol Ferris in this episode. Yes, she was. Those eyes, though. She had those sexy. I want to say more, but if I say more, I'm saying too much. Look, I don't want to scare this girl off. So can we be friends? I was like, oh, she did the friends. And Mel was like, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm hugging you. And Abby was like, yes, I still got it in. I mean, Mel literally said, or maybe you could come visit me in the future. I am a married woman. You guys have seen my spouse. If I literally had an ex, or not even an ex, somebody told me that they had always had a thing for me, and this person shows up at my house, and for some reason, River is out of town. Don't ask me why. River's gone, and I'm pregnant, and this person's like, I'm leaving, but, send me pictures so I know that you're okay. And I'm like, but maybe you could come visit me in the future. Do you not see that? Do you not see what that is? Mel, you just said you love Ruby. You are in this for the long run with Ruby. And you just told this girl who has already told you that she has special feelings for you under a freaking truth potion to come visit you in the future. You're already going to be fraternizing with this girl. You're going to be talking to this girl, sending her baby pictures and pictures of you, keeping tabs, letting her know you're okay when you were jealous of Ruby getting brownies from a girl on Instagram. Hypocrisy. I'm just saying. I think it will be at the hindrance of the character, and I really want to see some POC girl magic and owning her non-magical power and telling stories, not a showmance. I agree with that. I never said anything about her Ruby being overshadowed or about new characters. What do you think about it? I'm sorry, but I find Melby boring. You find Melby boring because they are. Like, Melby is extremely... Ruby as a character was not boring when she was introduced in season 2. She was very easygoing, but she was she was basically an activist in her own right. She was into sports. She had all male roommates. She was a bartender, I believe. She had a whole life. She was in the witch protection program because of her witch heritage that she didn't want anything to do with. But outside of that, she made a life for herself. And they took this character who was independent as hell and made her a yes ma'am to Mel. Because that whole conversation in season 2, Ruby was like standing her ground. She's like, well, I'm not into magic. And Mel's like, but I am magic. Basically, it's what I am. I'm a charm one. She's like, well, what do we do? She's like, well, basically, you got a choice to make. And then here comes season 3. And it's like, me and Ruby are hanging out. I'm like, I can't. I can't. How do you go from this to this? And then we got the magical allergy, and it didn't even matter. They couldn't even talk to each other, but then they were even more connected and they were even more in love. And I'm like, I don't understand. This entire relationship played out off screen. And that is another problem that I have, is that we didn't get to see the development of these characters. We saw Abigail's character development since her introduction in season 2. We saw signs of her being into Mel from that episode where, pretty much every episode where she ended up saving Mel a lot of the time. Even their banter. We did not have that with Ruby. So they are very boring to me. And that's the problem that I have. But again, it is a writing problem. I don't take this against the actress. Ruby's actress is gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with her. I think she has an adorable voice. It's just because she is in a U-Haul marriage. And that's what it is. A U-Haul marriage with Mel. And it doesn't make sense. There have been so many hints of Abigail since season 2. I think people just miss it because a woman flirting with a woman doesn't register since it doesn't apply to them. Oh, yes. We love the homonormative thing. Well, I'm going to, heteronormative is a word that a lot of people say a lot, and it really is true because they'll look at different characters. Like if it's a guy and a girl, and the guy's being an a-hole and not giving the girl the time of day, and the girl's like, oh, I love the guy, blah, 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 blah. They're always like, oh, they're going to get together. But if it's like same sex, even if it's 2 guys or 2 girls and they have the exact same thing, like Sasuke and freaking Sakura from Naruto, If that had been two guys or two girls, well, if it had been two guys, they'd be like, yeah, we ain't been great for that. But if it had been two girls and it had been a live action setting, they were like, they hate each other. And then we're like, Sasuke's such an a-hole. I don't want, this person to be with Sakura. It'd be like completely 180. And I'm like, I don't understand that crap at all. It's weird. People don't see stuff. And honestly, I never understood how they got together in that anime to begin with. And they were heterosexual. So it's a thing. It is a thing. Let me see. Telekinesis is probably more dominant. I think that's probably one of the standard ones they usually get. OG Charm, the other witches couldn't do anything. I don't remember them doing anything besides having their little covens, having their little familiars, which are normally cats, and being able to cast different spells. I don't remember them having individual abilities, so I think you're right. Me just imagining how that scene with Abby and her mother would have gone if Alistair was there. I would have loved to have seen Alistair and her backstory. That would have been interesting. We aren't going to get that. They retcon the whole magic being based on their personality aspects. I like that canon, but then if you're going to do this, go back to the bloodline. I agree with that. Other witches in the OG were an afterthought to the charm ones. Very true. They got attacked a lot. Those covens got attacked all the time. I do remember that. They have called each other the Power of Four. I mean, they are the Power of Four. Didn't watch it yet. Downloading now. All right, Jackson, let us know what you think. Noah G did have witches with powers and some far greater than their individual powers. My favorite was Power of Deflection and the transmortification taken by Ames the Familiar. If you can, if you remember which episodes, because I own the whole season. I have the DVD box set that looks like it's in the Book of Shadows. And I think it's all on, well, no, they took it off Netflix. I think it's on Peacock. Let me know if you remember certain episodes, because I really want to check that out, but I don't have time to just rewatch the whole, every season of Charm to find it. Hopefully now demons will attack and we will see Fenric and have demons of the week. I don't know where the demons are. They're just gone. It's interesting that demons don't attack humans anymore, don't attack anybody anymore, or even each other, because we always have this apocalyptic scenario going on for some reason. Remember, Richard had buku powers, more than the charm ones, but was a magic addict and bond himself when he was with Paige. Oh, I forgot about Richard. And she actually tried to bind him. You're right. You're right. Do you think that Francesca could be a warlock instead of a witch? I would love it if they had female warlocks, because they have female witches in Motherland Fort Salem. I mean, male witches in Motherland Fort Salem. So I think that would be cool. Paige had a charge and mechanic who had the witch power of hyperspeed. Huh. Okay. So it seems like when Paige showed up, that's when we started seeing more of the other witches. So yeah, you might be right. I can already see the writers going, okay, Macy will have a baby with Harry, and then see Mel and go, damn, well, that change of plans. Yeah. My poor dorky swan. Why do they feel the need to torture my baby? I don't know why they're messing with her. She's so freaking cute. Don't let my fandom surface. I'm sorry, Ray. The only powers I remember came from witch bloodlines and resident covens were conjuration, energy balls, fading, telekinesis, and deflective via amulet. And the families were predictions. Swan is the next big bad. I think that would be cool. That would be cool. They were the Montana family. Okay. We never found out how Abby got the Overlord title. I'm still impressed about that. I want to know more about what happened when Alistair tried to kill her. I want to know all of that stuff. I would love to have a flashback. I want to know what's going on with Parker. Is he alive? If he no longer has any powers and he's truly fully human, where is he? And Maggie is a biatch for letting him go unprotected. Give him some potions, give him something, just let him go. I gave him my powers for you. Well, but I'm done with you, especially since she's dating him in real life. It's just so messed up. I'm still adding out hope for Swan being a secret elder. I would love that. I'm also still holding out for her being potentially the great granddaughter or granddaughter of Harry's former life, because again, he had a second family and they never go back to that. And it's so annoying. I have a theory about Parker. Parker living his best life away from the charm ones. Yeah, Parker is living that mortal life. He really is. The amulets were just powerful magical protections, but together just made the individuals like pregnant Piper with Wyatt and that belly. Is so cute. Maybe we can get Poppy on Motherland Fort Salem, because clearly she would get the justice she so clearly deserves. I absolutely agree. And Poppy has charisma. That girl could literally roll in there and be with anybody. And I'm going to tell you a guilty pleasure of mine. So Anacostia is one of the coolest characters to me in that series. I would love it if she was bi, and I would love it if Poppy what ended up being a character. If that's who she got with, would be Poppy, because I could see Anacostia and Poppy together. I don't know why, I just can. I can see that. I absolutely can see that. But honestly, I literally can see her with everybody, because when Poppy comes on that show, everybody's going to be dropping some pants. Just saying. Just saying. I love Richard and miss him so much. Richard was a great character. Well, Abley did try to kill Macy. Okay. And Macy tried to kill Mel. I don't know where we're going with this. What doesn't make sense is when the Whispering Evil said that it was immune to all magic, and the Whispering Evil didn't say it's immune to ancient magic. Yeah, that's true. Macy didn't even show up to Julian's funeral. Also, did the police not question the girlfriend when you mysteriously died? Look, I'm still trying to figure out how people, and again, it could be a spell, but how people are just like, you're alive? Did you just kill yourself? Says you guys accidentally burned down your house so you can get the insurance and go live your best life in another city and state? And I'm like, yeah, I feel like Julian got off easy from the fandom rage. Poor Abby and Antonio. Yeah. A lot of people probably loved, what was the name of the show? Haven, where he was in that show with the Trouble. So they probably were like really into that. I know that there were a form of protection, but the only families that were canon that had a long line witches were the Montana and the Calloway family. Okay. I know it wasn't a lot of witches in the OG. There weren't a lot that had powers. Are you going to do another collab charm stream with the turnout? Probably after the season finale, we'll do like an after thing because we need to. I'm also doing an Abby Mel video this weekend for Approach the Yuri. So if you have not subscribed to Approach the Yuri, that is where all of my LGBT content extremely is going to go. We're going to have the L Word reviews on here, but I'm going to spotlight characters on that channel because I can say everything I want to say on that channel. So it's going to become a lot more active. So bear with me. Also, is Julian's sister still in that coma on life support? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping they didn't pull the plug because the company's like, we need to cut finances. Like, and this girl has no family anymore. So let's just pull the plug. Season 1 little boy with psychokinesis from his mom. Okay. I think Macy still hasn't let go of when Mel didn't accept when she showed up at their house in the middle of the night. Of course not. Everybody thinks the reason Macy hates Abby is because Abby tried to kill her, or Abby, took her powers and blah, 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 blah. No, it's because of Harry. That is what it is. Abby had her lips on Harry's mouth. Period. It's what it is. The Prue bonded with and started the whole talk of them and what parents would look like from them. I love Prue's character in Charm. I just do. She's always been my favorite Charm one in the OG series. I actually was not a fan of Paige. She was whiny. She had moments where she could be kind of cute and dorky, but she, for the most part, kind of got on my nerves a lot of the time. Phoebe kind of eventually started getting on my nerves too. Now in real life, most of the actresses in that show are pretty annoying. So it's a thing. Why is Harry about to die again? Because they have to kill him in order to bring him back to make him an angel. Because you have to be dead to be you have to be dead to be a white lighter, which doesn't make sense because all the white lighters should be dead. And if she makes another white lighter, is she not essentially creating a dark lighter? Or if she's not creating a dark lighter and she's just making the white lighter? Because I thought the way to make a pure white lighter was to take the darkness out, therefore making another James, another Jimmy. Oh, this is just, it's all a mess. Why isn't he aged like hundreds of years? Like, I don't know. What gets me confused was the Whispering Evil said it was immune to all magic, but didn't say it was not immune to ancient perfect magic, but yet the perfection put Jordan in the tomb. Yeah. There's a lot about the Whispering Evil and about the plot and see, I feel like he's allergic to plot hole magic. So that's what that's about. Can we have gypsies and Rubus like OG? Can we have other magical traditions? I would love it. I would absolutely love for them to introduce other magical beings from other countries as well. But we've always wanted that. We thought that's where they were going in season 2. But they dropped the ball on that. I'm just tired of the Veers and Harry period. I mean, I get it. Why don't they just release the Perfecti, because Perfecti will try to put them in the tomb as well. They got lucky and had a golem put them in the tube of chaos. They would not be able to reseal them on their own. That's why they won't bring them out. At least someone cares about Harry. Yeah, I'm just tired, period. Yeah. Hopefully someone buys this poor show and gives it what it deserves. I mean, Abu, he tired it with me the last 2 seasons. I love when Charm introduced us to the magic school where the gifted, powerful next generation of magic kids went to learn before the Hallows ruined it. I would love to do a twist. Instead of having magical school or magic school, they have like a magical, like kind of organization that basically deals with, you know, kind of like what we've seen in every other like Harry Potter, like every other magical type movie. They have like this one bureau, like Bureau of Magical Things, whatever, that basically keeps everything in the checks and balances. So you had the elders, but you also had this bureau and all of these witches and all these different beings, like all these magical creatures were all recruited to keep the magical world in check. That would breathe so much life back into this show and stop making the apocalypse happen every other Saturday. It's like, I really am like, their sisters are just sitting around the table. What are you doing Saturday? Oh, I thought I had a date. What about you? I got homework. What about you? Well, me and Harry oh, wait, no, hold up. This Saturday, we got to save the world again because something else is trying to destroy the world. And we have to have that 5-minute battle that saves everything. What about next week? Like, that's literally what keeps happening in the show. It's to the point where the apocalypse doesn't matter anymore. We've seen it so many times. It just doesn't matter. And that is why I think a lot of people are burning out on this series. It's always everything has to be so big and has to happen right now. The world is ending right now. The world is ending every week in this show. Every freaking week. It's a thing, guys. It is a thing. Yeah, what's Ruby's last name again? Crap. What is Ruby's last name? Well, I mean, how many times did Cole come back? Barnabas came back so many times. Barnabas was like, I'm here to stay. Even though the show isn't perfect, I'm glad to have experienced a new era of Charmed. I highly doubt the OG was ever going to get renewed or a continuation. I love Mel, Maggie, Macy, and Harry. Yeah. See, we don't hate the characters. I'm not unhappy that they did another show. I mean, again, we got Jordan, we got Abby, we got Swan, we got good characters. It's just the writing being inconsistent. But this, again, it's a writer's room problem. That is what I'm always going to say. It's always the writing. It's not the characters. They have no control over what comes out of their mouths. So it's a thing. Poppy needs to come over to Fort Salem because she will get the justice he deserves. Take all the characters that were screwed over or traumatized by the Charmed Ones and Harry's foolishness. I would love for them to bring Poppy into Motherland, Fort Salem. I would love it. Please get Ruby a last name. Please. Does Mel even know? You guys got me really wondering now. Does Ruby have a last name? Hold on. Does Ruby have a last name, Ruby? Their last name, is it? No? Huh. All right, guys. They have her last name as ending in a W. I don't know. It just says Ruby W on the wiki. I have no idea. The fan base is so divided. Either you're all for Abby or against. So the writers are going to annoy somebody no matter what, but they do a good job of it already. So, yep. And like I said, I'm never going to tell people who they have to ship. You don't feel like you have to like what I like because this is just my channel. So this channel allows me to say what I like. And if you don't like it, you are free to disagree with everything that comes out of my mouth. That is fine. I am not going to jump on you. I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. Get the H off my channel. I'm never going to do that. There's always going to be those people who cannot separate, first of all, fantasy from reality. When I'm telling you it's a writer's issue, that should already tell you that I've already accepted that these characters are not real. We get to react and be in our feelings because we just watched the episode. So we're hyped. But at the end of the day, am I going to go in my room and hang out with my spouse and be like, my life is over because Abigail is no longer going to be on Charmed? No, it's not going to have an impact on how I live my life daily. The problem is there are those people on the interwebs that for one reason or another cannot accept these things, cannot accept Abby being gone, cannot accept all of these things that people get extremely toxic over, because that is their lifeline. It's their blood. That is the umbilical cord to their soul. Again, you don't believe me? Watch when I say something about Scylla again on Motherland Fort Salem. People have literally written thesis, like 3-pronged thesis essays about why I'm wrong about her. So, I mean, people are in their feelings, and it's just what it is. But I guess, you know what? The writers are doing their job in that regard. They divided the fandom. They gave you something to be upset about or happy about. And I guess that's what they really wanted in the end, even if they have plot holes and sometimes it doesn't make a lick of sense, but it is what it is. I was here as another instructor like Anacostia. I love M too. M is such a cool character. I really need them to do a lot more with her. I think someone on Twitter posted something about finally giving her a name, but because we waited for Harry and George's last name to be revealed 2 seasons after they were introduced. It's sad that you have a last name, but no matter what, majority do not like Ruby. I mean, because it's not that I dislike Ruby. Ruby does not have the personality and the independence that she had starting out in season 2. It's gone. She's literally only there as a side piece for Mel. That's what she is. It's sad. It's really sad because, again, the actress herself is I feel like she has the potential to be very charismatic, to be a very cool character. They just don't write her that way. And that's the problem. I think there's a little nuance in how they are telling Macy's story because they live in coastal type regions. Issues and race are a little different than middle of the country and South. Oh yeah, you're going to see that. I'm working with a collaborator from the UK. She's also mixed like me. And we're going to discuss for her channel, the differences between mixed identity in the States versus the UK. And we're also going to be talking about things like mixed erasure and stuff in media on my channel. So you're going to hear a lot of the stuff that I've dealt with for almost 45 years, people, in my life, claiming my Blackness, claiming all my other nationalities and being told that I can't. So I understand that. But I'm also saying as somebody who is very ambiguous, if I put my picture next to my daddy looks completely Black. He is dark-skinned Black. His father was Native American. His mother was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, just like him, completely Black. You would not know he was mixed with anything. And I came out looking like I have jaundice. So I don't know why I'm so ambiguous, but I am. And so nobody ever gets my nationality correctly. I even put out on my community board for you guys to guess. I did it on my Facebook. You should see the answers I had on my Facebook. It would make you laugh. I've had people that have known me for 23 years and didn't even know I was half Black, which is absolutely insane. When you went to my high school and my dad was at my theater performances, was at my graduation, had no idea that was my dad. So it's all about how people think you look. If I never came on here telling you guys that I was half Black, you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know. And Macy, her actress, she's tanner. She has that like, it's not dark, but it's like a dark olivey kind of caramelish type coloring to her skin, but her facial features look very ambiguous. And so if you were to look at her, depending on how she did her hair, you would not know what she was. She'd be mistaken for all kinds of stuff, from Eastern African to Puerto Rican. So like, she is ambiguous. So having her in that role as the one suffering, the only one suffering with her Blackness, Maggie's not suffering at all. And to me, that perpetuates the stereotype of biracials like me. You're like, okay, you're half Black too. Your daddy is the same daddy that Macy has, but because you're lighter skinned, you don't have to worry about racism at all. In a country that also doesn't like Hispanics, we have never seen a problem on Charmed. Please explain that to me too. Charmed has never had Mel go to anywhere and saying, oh, well, we think, Hispanics are bad. We're building a wall. When you're leaving, and she's like, I'm actually Puerto Rican, I'm not even a Mexican. Never had that issue on Charmed. Only BLM issue, only with Macy. Never any other race problems in the Charmed universe. That is the question mark that I have. That is the problem that I have. It don't make sense, guys. Never will. I said something several months back when season 3 started. I'm just frustrated that gays are seemingly getting shafted again by the CW every series. It's more subtle, but just as bad how race comes to play in different regions and class circles. True. That will say you're going to definitely be a little shocked because I'm half British. I have British citizenship and I have U.S. citizenship. And there is a difference in how, mixed people specifically are treated over there versus here, because you're allowed to be mixed over there. You're not allowed to say you're mixed over here. It is very controversial when you do. So it's a thing. Doesn't Josefina need to already have plants around to manipulate? I don't think so, because then when they were in the cave, she made a vine, and I didn't think there were any plants in the cave when she saved them, when they were like, the floor was caving in. So I think she can just grow it from the ground. Why didn't the Perfecti tell them how to kill it? Because she wants out of that freaking tomb. Aladdin wasn't letting them out. I hate the polyamorous story with the queer characters. Why not the straight characters, so people can know that this is just one story and not the story of the community? I agree. Roswell messed that up big time. I think a writer on Twitter said we'll learn more about Dexter, Ray, and Marisol next season. Oh, so we're going to have like flashback episodes. I guess that'll be something to look forward to. Laugh out. The elders talked major shit on Marisol's premonitions, but she seemed to have set up so many things. But she not even... could see her own death or Charity. Yeah, that didn't make sense. Why didn't she see Charity being bad? I don't know. It's guys, I don't understand at all. Like, majority prefer Abby and Mel, so listen to us. At CW. Well, technically the writers did see it, because they've actually shown they had Abby confess. They had Mel not be disgusted by it. They had Mel invite her to come visit her, even though she's in a relationship in the future, open up the can to her being open to dumping Ruby in the future. So they didn't close the door. There wasn't a goodbye speech. Mel didn't say, I'm sorry, but I can never reciprocate your feelings. I have Ruby. I'm in love with her. She didn't say any of that. She said, you could come and visit me in the future. Bayrod and Nate on Legends would be legendary, in my opinion. Right? Yes, they really would. But I love Nate and Ray. Nate and Ray were just very, very cool. What happened to the powerful sound ball witch in season 1? What happened to anybody in season 1? I mean, I'm still trying to figure out where Jada is. An excuse for Jordan not needing medical attention could be that him being possessed gave him some sort of resistance. I just don't agree with that. I mean, I get what you're saying. I just don't agree that they thought it through. I figure they just figured that we didn't care enough to even have an explanation. Jordan is a combat army medic. True. But they are trained in the basics, which means he should have been trained in, if somebody is giving birth, you were trained in what to do to help this person, because there were also females in the military. If you are trained in life-saving techniques medically, you can deliver a baby. I'm sorry that he's a man. Realistically, they use the PO3 and demon powers, power 3 and demon powers on his mortal body, and nothing happened. Again, none of that makes sense. Like, none of that makes sense. Do you got another Abby Mel video planned? Yes. Again, that's going to be out this weekend. So you're going to see an Abby Mel video on my other channel. So this coming, you're also going to have an Abigail and Rael video from Motherland, because I ship the hell out of them. I know it's weird for people, but I do. I just ship them so much. So I got 2 Abby ships that one seems very promising, and the other one has had moments where I was like, but probably is not going to go that way, even though the writer is gay, and I just don't understand what he's thinking with this whole Scylla and Rael thing. Let's see. It's going to be heartbreaking. Why couldn't they just do an identity spell, call back to season 8, and if the Hollows can blow up the house how many times, why can't they go back home? Yeah. I'm waiting for someone to do a clown edit to the recorded version of Titanic. Another cliffhanger. I really want to do Charmed on Crack. I'm doing Charmed on Crack now. I don't see the Hallows being able to afford that house legit if you price the housing in San Fran at that time. So Prue had to make hella money because Piper and Phoebe were not. Well, first of all, they owned their house. It was passed to them from their grandmother. They just kept taking mortgages out on it all the time to pay. Like they took a mortgage out to pay for P3. So they did do that. But let's be clear. For a long time, Leo didn't have a salary. He worked at magic school. He wasn't getting paid, and he was a white lighter. He did like odd jobs as like in their house. He was coming in as a repairman, but outside of that, I don't think he was actually making any money doing anything else. So I don't know. Season 4 better be good. They have all the tools, feedback they need besides good writers to make it good. We'll see. Vera Kane. I like that. Vera Kane would be cool. Mel Vera Kane would be a cool thing. All right, we're getting close to an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to pick a few more. And then we're going to, I just randomly picked. I need to see that. Me and my mom are arguing if blacks from other countries claim Africa. If they don't, America is the only place for Africa in front of the nation. Yeah, Africa does not claim anybody except for people in Africa. That is the truths. Even Dave Chappelle and a lot of different actors who went over there said that, oh, we're home. And they're like, this is not your home. You are not, this is not you. No, so they don't consider that's going to be a whole conversation that you'll see like in a lot of, because I'm also doing a documentary. I've already got a bunch of interviews and stuff. So you're going to see just how the most crazy and like the most like constricting racial identity issue or issues that we have are actually primarily in the United States. There is racism all over the world, but we have broken it down to layers that don't even make sense. So it is extremely hard and suffocating to be yourself in this country. It really is. It's almost, and I will say, and this is a theme of what I've always said my whole life. And this is completely off topic from Charm, guys. I'm not trying to preach to you guys, but we're talking about the whole race thing. And I brought up with Macy, because Macy and Maggie are also mixed, and they're mixed like I am. When you are a biracial or a mixed individual, you are the only group of people in the United States of America where people feel the need to walk into your home and tell you what you can identify as. And it better be what you should be identifying as, or you are canceled. And no other group of people has to go through that. You will have discrimination against race, identity, or whatever, but you will never have somebody walk into your house and tell you your father is this, your mother is this, well, you should say you're this. Nobody else knows what that feels like. And it's shit. And it causes a lot of identity issues that I had to deal with growing up most of my life. And actually, I'm still in my 40s and I'm still having it. You're never going to be white enough. You're never going to be black enough. I'm never going to be Native American enough. It's just a thing. All my family's in Scotland. My mother wasn't even American white. So I'm never European enough. I'm never Scottish enough, even though I still talk to my Scottish family through Facebook and stuff. I didn't grow up with them. So you're always on the outside, and society tells you, well, you should just say you're this, but we won't fully claim you because you don't look this way. That is the problem that I have. And you'll see different perspectives, but it's a thing. It is a thing. Yeah, I do. Actually, when we do a collaboration, I'm going to talk about the documentary and all that stuff. So I'm almost done. I've got 3 people that I'm waiting for perspective interviews from, because I'm going to make it all one streaming thing. So one whole long video, but I've been working on this for 8 months. So it's getting there. It is getting there. All right. You should do another collab with the Turnout. I will tell him that. We usually do our like end of season collaborations. So we are. You are you, and that is enough. Thank you. You have no idea. You have no idea how long it took me to get to that point. So, but it's a thing. It is a thing. Okay, one more. Sorry, I was trying to see if we got a question. Okay, for the elders or magic, they can magic up a couple of dollars for Leo. So instead of having the CW bank account, Leo had the Elders bank account. That's pretty sweet, though. Because, I mean, Celeste was living large. she was living on an island. So, I mean, I guess I got it. But I mean, I always felt like the elders, that was their second job. And like, they actually had a day-to-day job. Like they were real estate agents and lawyers and stuff like that. So I wonder, Celeste probably was something like a scientist like Macy or an inventor or something. So I don't know. I probably have to go back and figure out Celeste's backstory besides being an elder. But yeah, it's a thing. It is a thing. All right, guys, we are at 1 hour and 48 minutes and counting. I know it's late. It is Friday, so at least, it could be Saturday for some of you guys. But at least it's not it's like my Motherland stream, which is on a Tuesday. But I'm gonna let you guys get back to either the rest of your Friday, the rest of your Saturday, sleeping, hanging out, doing whatever. We are going to have our Owl House review. I'm still heartbroken that season 3 is going to be 4 22-minute episodes, and a lot of people are saying it's because of, again, Disney not supporting LGBTQ. I don't know if that's true or not. So I just kind of like putting it on the sides, but we will definitely be talking about the Owl House. Hopefully we'll have Lumity in the next episode. But unfortunately, like the CW, we kind of get Lumity in every other episode or every 2 episodes. So who knows, but at least they made progress. Hopefully you guys watched my review last week. And then on Approach to Yuri, I did my Lumity reaction. So if you haven't seen that, go to Approach to Yuri because that is a thing. I didn't see Chastin in here, so I will say it. Please like this video if you have not liked it so people know that we're here. If you didn't like what I said, put a thumbs down. At least people know I'll get credit for it. So it is what it is. But I love you guys, and we will talk tomorrow. And also be on the lookout tomorrow. I'm going to have my Kung Fu, either going to be a review or a stream too, sometime tomorrow, late afternoon. So I will talk to you guys later. And